Hey guys, this is this week's Coaching Corner. Question I get a lot is, should I hire a coach? Now I know what you're thinking. I'm probably going to come right out and be like, yes, you need a coach. Obviously I coach, makes me biased. However, I think that many people can benefit from a coach. If nothing else, then, a lot of times you can't see the picture because you're in the frame, okay? So it's hard for us to be really objective with ourselves. And I think that's the true value of having a coach, is somebody who can look at everything going on and give you an objective opinion. Now, in terms of just programming, nutrition advice, all that stuff's out there. I mean, you can read articles where I'm saying, hey, try this, try that. Here's this program, here's that program. So there's already those things in existence. But what a coach can do is the coach can say, for your situation, for your goals, right now, at this moment, I think this is the best course of action, right? Just like people hire business coaches or life coaches, Having somebody to guide you through a process who's not emotionally involved in it can be a very, very beneficial thing. I can tell you that I've had people I've worked with who they needed a lot of times to have a kick in the ass, that they weren't pushing themselves hard enough, and I knew it. But I've also had people where I've had to say, whoa, back off, calm down, this is going to work out, everything's going to be fine, we need to do X, Y, Z. Okay, a great example is I have an awesome client. She's been with me for a while, and she has done competitions in figure. She does CrossFit. She does Olympic lifting, and she does powerlifting. And she enjoys all those sorts of things. But she's been during her last block of training, she was getting ready for a powerlifting meet, and her squat was just not responding. Like, her squat was really just being very sluggish. And after the meet was over, she did well. After the meet was over, she was talking about how she really wanted to get better at powerlifting, that she really enjoyed it. And I said, well, I think we need to talk about starting to cut down some of the Olympic lifting you do and some of the CrossFit you do, because it's non-specific volume. It's pretty taxing. Those Olympic lifts are pretty taxing. And I think it's part of the reason that you're chronically feeling fatigued, that you're not recovering well, that your squats feel terrible. So it's making you stronger, but not specifically in that movement, the squat movement, and it's impacting your overall recovery. So her response was that, well, but I really enjoy that. And I said, okay, well, this is where a coach can really come in and kind of lay things out. And I said, well, that's fine. If you enjoy that, I don't want you not to do it. But if you're giving me the goal that you want to get better at powerlifting, that you really want to be better at that, okay, well then I can do that, but that also puts constraints on everything else. So every time you make a goal, you're putting a constraint down, right? Because in order to achieve a goal, there has to be constraints. If I want to get ready for a bodybuilding show, I have constraints on what I can eat. If I want to get ready for a powerlifting meet, I have constraints on the type of training I can do. If I want to get ready for a triathlon, it's probably not a good idea, even if I love to squat heavy, it's probably not a great idea for me to be squatting heavy and have my legs really sore when I have to go run 5 or 10K, right? So whatever goal you make, once you set that goal, you have to understand the constraints that goal puts on everything else, right? Just goals themselves put constraints on your life, right? Like, I like to play video games. I like to play role-playing video games. I haven't played one in probably 2 or 3 months because I'm really focusing on my business right now. I have a new baby. I have all these sorts of things. I have a lot of things going on with different businesses I'm trying to launch. And so I can either allocate my time towards those and triage my time. I can play a video game, but now it's taken away from what I really want to do over here. So I realize that this is all very basic, but it just goes to show that when you put a goal down, A goal comes with inherent constraints. A coach can help frame that. A good coach can help frame that for you in a way that makes sense. Because a lot of times, and I have someone who's a life coach, Patsy Evans. She's awesome. I would definitely check her out. And she, whenever I want to do something, I remember one day I was giving her all these different things I wanted to do, and she was like, Lane, you can't get everything. She's like, you have to focus your attention on something, right? Like you have to kind of pick, you might be able to get a couple things, but you can't have 6, right? So, and you have to prioritize those goals. Well, I hadn't thought about it that way. I just thought, well, I want to do everything, right? And so having that ability to make me focus was good, because if I was just on my own, I probably would have kept going and sporadically and shifting between goals. So that made me really think about what my goal was, what I wanted to focus on. And a good coach can, I always tell people, hiring a coach is a luxury. I would never tell you, don't pay your health insurance so you can hire a coach, don't pay your rent so you can hire a coach, don't, all that kind of stuff. Of course not. It's a luxury. And so like a luxury car, if I need to go to Miami for work, I can go to Miami in a little tiny, I don't know, so somebody pick your crappy car. I can go in it, right? I can also take a Mercedes-Benz. Both will get me where I want to go, but the Mercedes is going to be a lot more comfortable ride. Now, if I can't afford the Mercedes, probably not a good idea to buy it. But if I can afford it, it makes sense for me. It makes the ride more comfortable and enjoyable, and for me, that's worth it. Then that makes sense. And I think hiring a coach is much the same way. If hiring a coach reduces your stress level, makes the journey more enjoyable, takes some of the work off your plate. I work with a lot of people who are very high achievers in their own fields, and they're so focused on everything they're doing, they don't want to think about their own programming, and they don't want to think about their own nutrition and that sort of thing. They want somebody just to tell them what to do based on the constraints of their goal. And so that's the value of it. And also having somebody who'll be honest with you and tell you straight up. I've had to tell people, like, listen, I know this is your goal, but based on these other things you're telling me, this is not a reasonable goal in this time frame and under the circumstances that you have right now. Okay? My dad has a saying, you can wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first. So the job of a good coach is to tell you when you're more likely to fill up with shit as opposed to your wishes. So that can be very difficult for some coaches. A lot of coaches will want to tell you what you want to hear so they can get you to sign up and they can get your money. But I always look at it as like, I would rather have one satisfied client than 5 satisfied clients and 1 dissatisfied client. Now, obviously, listen, you can go find clients who have been dissatisfied with me. Absolutely. I am not going to sit here and say I've done a great job for everybody and I've never messed up. I have absolutely screwed up. I've absolutely done a bad job for some people, never intentionally. A lot of times it was communication issues, and I'll talk about coach-client communication issues in a separate talk. But, all those things, hopefully, when I took my ego out of it, I tried to learn from it. And, hopefully not repeat some of those same mistakes. But the point being that I really try to get the most satisfaction for people. And I always say I want to make sure that if somebody else's, my expectations line up with the client's. So if their expectations are here and mine are here, I need to find a way to make them understand why that gap exists and try to get them in the same place. Because I could be very happy with how, and this has happened many times, which is why I'm so insistent about it now. I could get to my expectations for the client and be very happy with how they've done, and their expectations were here and they were unhappy, even though they responded about how I'd expect, and I was very happy with things. So again, I think that's an important thing to understand. and just, that comes also down to a communication issue, which, like I said, I'll talk about in a separate video. But in short, you don't need a coach. A coach can make it more comfortable for you. I think a lot of people can benefit from a coach. There are programs out there now, like my company, Avatar Nutrition, which provide automated coaching. Now, a computer doesn't have room for interpretation, right? A computer doesn't know that you're stressed out and your dog died and you were up late last night and all this kind of stuff, right, when it's making adjustments. But a $10 a month program, which is what Avatar is, that has scientifically based and validated ways of producing fat loss, muscle gain, reverse dieting, those sorts of things, for $10 a month, for a lot of people, that's going to be a really nice middle ground, as opposed to spending hundreds of dollars a month on a coach. They can spend $10 a month, still get a large portion of the benefit. They're having somebody tell them what to do, tell them what to do. It's taking the guesswork out of it. But like I said, for a lot of people, they're going to want that more personal interaction, and they're going to want, like I said, almost like somebody to guide them. And so if you're just looking for information, there's articles. If you're looking for something to tell you what to do, there's programs. And if you're looking for somebody to guide you, there's coaches. And it just depends on what your goals are, how much money you're willing to spend. And but please do your research on coaches, and please, I'll talk in another video about good and bad coaches, but make sure you take your due diligence, and because a good coach can help you and make the ride smoother, and a bad coach can really mess you up. So, all right, guys, that's it for this talk, and I'll catch you next time.